Congresswoman has significantly affected the lives of many in her community, advocating for the rights of consumers, investors, credit card holders, and women. Her successes in Congress are in part due to her dedication and love for her city of New York, where she consistently fights for the interests of its people. I now welcome to speak the woman who has never lost an election, Congresswoman Ms. Carolyn Maloney.
Thank you so much. It is a great pleasure for me to join you for your 4th annual Roadmap Leadership Conference, Women Shaping Society, and I am honored to be here and to accept this award. I have found the other awardees incredibly inspiring with their life stories and their important contributions. I truly appreciate your focus on this issue. Studies have clearly shown that when women are doing well, when we are participating more fully in economic development and government and in leadership positions, our nations do well. There is a close relationship between the education of women and girls, the participation of women in the workforce, and the inclusion of women in government, and the economic well-being of a nation. When women do well, the GDP of a nation is higher, and the old saying that women hold up half the sky. And when you educate a woman, you educate a nation, you increase the really economic strength of her home, her village, and her country. I have been able to visit the Balkans and visited them with former President Clinton. I remember he was the first American president to go into Bulgaria. And there was a great warm meetings, and also I joined him in Kosovo, in Bosnia, in Greece, Albania, Turkey. Just this last May, I was pleased to be a delegate of the United States government to an international United Nations conference in Istanbul for the 2012 International Parliamentarian Conference on the implementation of the ICPD Program for Action. The Program for Action was an important statement of goals adopted by 179 countries in Cairo in 1994. It is a vision based on a set of values that we all share, a vision of equality and human rights for the world's women and girls that is healthier, safer, economically secure, and full of opportunities for our daughters and granddaughters, more than we have known in our lifetime. Here in the United States, women have made great strides, but we still have a long way to go. I was first elected to Congress in 1992 in what was called the Year of the Woman. That was the year, for the first time in history, voters sent 24 freshman women to Congress. More new women members were elected that year than had been elected in the previous decade combined. I still remember how exciting it was to walk down the aisle, not to be married, but to be sworn into the United States Congress. And believe me, and those women that were elected, we fought so hard to beat down those doors, not to let the wind in, but to bring real change. And we brought a whole new focus and energy on women's issues. We passed the Family and Medical Leave Act, which enables working women and men to balance family needs and caregiving obligations. It gives people up to 12 weeks of unpaid leave and ensures that they cannot be fired from their jobs for taking care of a newborn or an elderly parent. We passed the Violence Against Women Act, which provided funding for programs to help battered women and training for law enforcement. We expanded Medicare to cover pap smears and mammograms. That happened to have been one of my bills. And we passed much needed legislation for family planning and protection of family planning clinics. Since then, the number of women serving in both the House and Senate has increased significantly, but we still have not cracked 20%. Economists and sociologists believe that you need a critical mass of 30% in order to bring new change. for real change. And here in America, we still have not cracked that glass ceiling. We only make 80 cents to the dollar earned by men. And this is a number that has been there for 30 long years. And we still have not included in our Constitution the Equality Amendment for men and women. Perhaps it is because the U.S. ranks only 78th in the world in terms of the percentage of women elected to our nation's legislature that we have not been able to crack that wage gap. But I was at an interesting dinner 2 nights ago at Ambassador Rice's home. She had 2 women heads of state there, including one from the Balkans, the youngest elected official, a wonderful, dynamic leader from Kosovo. And it was at this meeting where there were many women leaders from the United Nations, from governments, and from other areas, that we decided that we would have a goal that by 2050, we would work to have 50% of the legislatures women. That we recognize the need that we need women at all the tables, not just the kitchen table, but the peace table, the economic table, all the tables where the important decisions are made. I have been a legislator and have authored many, many bills, but I'm very proud to have recently authored and passed the 9/11 Health and Compensation Act that gives health care to the men and women who risk their lives to save the lives of others. On 9/11, we lost 2,000, but many more lost their lives. And this bill will give them the health care they so justly deserve. I want to take this opportunity to thank the Balkans for their expression of support during that very dark and hard time, and your expression of condolences for the loss of our ambassador in Libya with 3 others. Thank you very much. As a woman legislator, I have concentrated on women's health care. And the new health care bill that we passed, that President Obama authored and passed, and I worked on the women's, really brings many needed health support to men and women. But for women, it will remove the discrimination that is there between what women pay for their health care and what men pay. And in our country, women have to pay much, much more for their health care. And women are often called a pre-existing condition. And insurance companies were able to deny us health care if you became pregnant or if you had any other type of illness such as cancer. So this is an important bill that we've passed. And I've worked hard in another area. I passed the Debbie Smith bill that some have called the most important anti-rape piece of legislation in our country. And it processes the DNA rape kits so that the prosecutors can put the rapist behind bars. And I've worked hard on trafficking, to end trafficking. It is a terrible crime. It is preceded only by drugs and the selling of guns and the activity and the money that it raises for organized crime. But unlike guns and drugs, a woman can be sold over and over again until she dies. Earlier today, I was at a conference called the Clinton Initiatives, and President Obama addressed this conference, and the whole theme of his speech was to end sex trafficking, which is the modern age form of slavery. It is so terrible, it's hard to talk about. But one of the bills we passed tracks the efforts in countries to combat sex trafficking, and we expanded it to include the United States so that we could track what is happening in the United States. They believe 200 to 300,000 girls and boys are trafficked. UNICEF believes that well over 1 million young girls and boys are trafficked, and they say the common age that one enters this terrible form of abuse is 13 years of age. President Obama vowed to make this a priority of his administration, to use all federal contracts to make sure that the supply chain did not use trafficked labor or women or any other form. He spoke about increased law enforcement at the borders, and prosecutors being better trained. and to helping the victims and giving them a special immigration status so that they can come forward, and giving them support if they've been abused. So that was very thrilling. And the whole conference was thrilling. The whole purpose of the conference is individuals coming forward with plans and projects to help people around the world, whether it is clean water or economic development or any other area. And at the end, the president closed with these words. And he said, and he used them at the United Nations today, he said, "The future must not belong to those who bully women. It must be shaped by girls who go to school and those who stand for a world where our daughters can live their dreams just like our sons." I would like to conclude with a quote from a great First Lady, Eleanor Roosevelt. And she would often end her speeches by saying that it was up to the women, because women are the ones that often make things happen and get things done for the families. And she would also quote Margaret Mead, who used to say that if you ever think you can't do something, look at the people who do get things done. And if you ever think that a small group of people or only one person can make a difference, that's really the way that most things are accomplished in our world and in our country. I want to thank you for focusing on helping women, children, and families. When you empower a woman, you empower a family and her country. And it is very thrilling for me to join you in celebrating so many important women that have made such a tremendous difference in helping the lives of their communities and the women and children in those communities. Thank you. I'm truly honored to join. Thank you very much.